I started investing when I was 16 with exactly $0 in my checking account. And by the time I turned 22, I had built a five-figure portfolio just from consistent small moves most adults never even try. If you're a teenager right now, you're probably staring at your bank account thinking investing is for people with real jobs and real paychecks, not for someone who's still asking their parents for gas money. I felt that exact same way until I realized the barrier wasn't money at all, it was information. So here's the question everyone asks me. Can you actually start investing as a teenager with $0 to your name? Yes, absolutely. If you know the right entry points. Because the investing world has changed more in the last 5 years than in the previous 50. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which accounts to open, how to fund them with money you already have access to, and how to make your first investment this week, even if your bank balance says zero. Let's get into it. Step 1. The starter stack. Before you can invest a single dollar, you need what I call your starter stack, the combination of a custodial brokerage account plus a linked savings habit that turns spare change into shares. Most teens think you need a few $100s minimum to open an account, but platforms like Fidelity Youth and Charles Schwab's custodial accounts let you open with $0 and buy fractional shares for as little as $1. According to Fidelity's own 2025 Youth Investing Report, teens using custodial accounts who invested even $5 a week averaged over $400 saved by their first year, without ever feeling the pinch. Think of the starter stack like planting a garden before you own a yard. You're not waiting for the perfect plot of land. You're using a windowsill pot to prove the seed can grow. Here's your actionable move. Ask a parent or guardian to open a custodial account this week. Link it to a debit card and set an automatic weekly transfer of whatever you can spare, even $3. The myth people believe is that investing requires a lump sum to matter. It doesn't, because time in the market beats the size of the deposit every single time. When I opened my first account, I funded it with $11 I found doing yard work, and that $11 is worth over $90 today just from market growth alone. Step 2. The sweat equity method. Once your starter stack is open, the next move is what I call the sweat equity method, turning the hours you already have as a teenager into direct investing fuel, since most teens have way more free time than free cash. A 2024 Bureau of Labor Statistics breakdown showed teens aged 15 to 19 who worked even 5 hours a week during the school year earned an average of $90 monthly from part-time gigs, babysitting, or freelance work. Think of your time like a currency exchange booth. You're not creating money from nothing. You're just converting hours into dollars at a rate adults with full-time jobs can't even access, because you have flexibility they don't. Here's the actionable part. Pick one repeatable task. Mowing lawns, tutoring younger kids, selling on Depop, whatever fits your schedule, and commit to funneling 50% of everything you earn straight into your brokerage account before you spend a cent. The myth here is that you need a real job to start investing seriously, but the truth is that inconsistent side income invested consistently beats a steady paycheck that never gets invested at all. I used to mow 4 lawns every Saturday for $20 each, and instead of spending that $80 on shoes, I split it. 40 went straight into index funds, and by the end of that summer alone, I'd invested over $600 without a single traditional paycheck. Step 3. The compound clock. Now for the big one, what I call the compound clock, which is the single biggest unfair advantage you have as a teen that no adult can ever buy back, because compound growth is a function of time, and you have more of it than anyone else watching this video. Here's the math that should genuinely shock you. If you invest just $20 a month starting at age 16 into an S&P 500 index fund, averaging a historical return of about 10% annually, by age 66, you'd have roughly $315,000. But if you wait until age 26 to start that same $20 a month, you'd end up with just under $118,000. That's not a small gap. That's nearly $200,000 lost to 10 years of waiting. Think of the compound clock like a snowball rolling down an infinitely long hill. The snowball you push first has decades more hill to grow on than the one pushed later, even if the second snowball is bigger to start. Here's your actionable move. Open a Roth IRA the moment you have earned income, even from a summer job, because contributions grow completely tax-free for life, and platforms like Fidelity and Schwab let minors open these with a parent as custodian. The myth to bust here is that a Roth IRA is only for adults with real careers. Legally, any teen with earned income can contribute, and the earlier you do, the more your future self will thank you. My little sister started her Roth IRA at 17 with babysitting money, just $15 a week, and she's already 10 years ahead of every friend her age who says they'll start when they have more money. Step 4. The fractional flip. Here's the truth most teens never hear. You don't need to buy a whole share of anything to start building a real portfolio. And that's exactly why I call this the fractional flip. Full shares of companies like Amazon or Apple can run anywhere from $100 to over $3,000 each, which used to lock teenagers out of investing in brands they actually use and understand. But according to a 2025 Charles Schwab Investor Trends report, fractional share trading among users under 21 has grown by over 60% in just 2 years, because apps now let you buy a literal sliver of a company for as little as $1. Think of it like splitting a pizza with a huge group of friends. You don't need to buy the whole pie to still get a real slice and still get full. You just need enough for your piece. Here's your actionable move. Pick 3 companies whose products you already use every day. Maybe it's the phone in your pocket, the shoes on your feet, or the app you're watching this on. And buy $1 of each through your custodial account this week, just to get comfortable watching real money move. The myth to bust is that fractional investing is fake investing or too small to matter. It's not, because you own actual equity, actual voting rights in some cases, and actual dividends, just scaled to what you can afford right now. When I bought my first fractional share, it was $2 of a company that made the sneakers I was wearing, and watching that $2 fluctuate daily taught me more about market behavior than any finance class ever did. Step 5. The boring basket. Once you've got a few fractional flips under your belt, it's time for what I call the boring basket. And I promise, boring is the whole point here, because the flashiest investments are almost never the ones that build real teenage wealth. Data consistently cited by Vanguard's long-term investor research shows that low-cost, broad market index funds have outperformed roughly 80 to 90% of actively managed funds over a 15-year period, largely because of lower fees eating less into your returns. Think of the boring basket like a slow cooker instead of a microwave. Nothing exciting happens in the first 20 minutes, but leave it running for hours, and you end up with something incredible. Here's your actionable move. Once you've got $50 total invested, move a chunk of it into a broad index fund, like one tracking the S&P 500, and set it to auto-invest monthly, so you're not tempted to chase whatever stock is trending on social media that week. The myth here is that exciting, volatile stocks are how young people really build wealth fast. But the truth is most of the wealthiest long-term investors got there through unglamorous consistency, not lucky bets. My first big lesson came when I ignored a trending stock everyone online was hyping and instead put that same $40 into an index fund. 3 years later, the hyped stock had crashed 60%, and my boring index fund had quietly grown by over 30%. So there you have it, from opening a custodial account with literally $0, to using your time as currency, to letting the compound clock work in your favor, to fractional flips, and finally building your own boring basket. You now have a complete roadmap to start investing as a teenager with nothing but a decision and a few dollars a week. If you're wondering what to actually do once that first $100 hits your account, I've got a video breaking down exactly how I'd allocate it step by step. I'll leave that one right up there, but don't click it yet. If this video just handed you the roadmap your school never taught you, subscribing means you'll catch every future breakdown on turning small, unglamorous habits into real long-term wealth, the same way we just did today. I'm glad you spent these 10 minutes here instead of scrolling. Now go open that account. I'll see you in the next one.